as always, from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And this morning we've got a President's Council here to talk about the legal aspects of a couple of things. One, of course, is the Airbus Industries transaction in which the government of Sri Lanka, through Sri Lankan Airlines, in which it has the majority shares, paid out a cancellation fee of $98 million. And to talk about that, as well as growing concern as to the activities of the EPF investments in the equity market, or put it simply, investments in the stock market. To discuss the legal aspects of these, we've got President's Counsel and politician as well, to boot, Mr. Maitri Gunaratne. Very good morning to you, Maitri.
Thank you, Faraz.
And thank you very much for being on the set.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
It's a great pleasure. Now then, tell us, if we look at the, let's go do the Airbus Industries matter, shall we? Thank you for your message. It's already started coming through. 0772 300 305. Maitri Gunaratne, now, if we begin at the beginning, in the administration of the Rajapaksas and under the chairman of Nishanta Wickramasinghe at Sri Lankan Airlines, there was a decision made to purchase Airbus aircraft.
That's right.
And the next government, 2015, the Palane government, the Sirisena Wickramasinghe combined, they took a decision and asked Sri Lankan Airlines to cancel the transaction. Yeah. And they then dutifully wrote to Airbus and their agents and said, do cancel it. And they wrote back and said, yeah, that's fine, but you need to pay the cancellation fee. So after some negotiation, it was settled at $98 million. And on the basis, I suppose, that this was a bona fide transaction and the contract was legally sound and legally enforceable, the government of Sri Lanka, through Sri Lankan Airlines, paid that $98 million. Now later, in the last couple of weeks, it's been found out that, in actual fact, Airbus Industries, contrary to the laws operating in France, and therefore the European Union, Great Britain, and the United States, contrary to laws in those three countries, Airbus had made an inducement to various airlines around the world, especially in South Asia, including Air Asia and Malaysia and so on, that they had agreed an inducement fee. Included in those arguments and transactions was one with Sri Lankan Airlines, where they had paid $2 million of a potential $16.4 million to the wife, to a company in which the sole director and sole shareholder was the wife of the then CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines, Kapila Chandrasena. Airbus Industries and their associated companies agreed that this is what they had done, and they made a settlement to those three countries of 3.6 billion, with a B, billion rupee, euro, 3.6 billion euro. Now, in the light of that, what is the status of that legal arrangement, the contract?
For us, firstly, I think we must thank the President for having instantaneously acted and instructed the CID to take action against these people who have collected this $2 million.
Right.
I think that is commendable. And now it is up to the CID, and the magistrate had issued an arrest warrant on these two people,
right,
and for the arrest of them. So basically, he has set the legal process in motion.
Right.
And now they will have to be brought in, and this is a textbook case on money laundering.
Right.
They will have to come and answer all these questions.
Right.
And that part of it has now commenced.
So actually it is a textbook case, because the first for money laundering, for a case, for a charge of money laundering to be supported, one needs, the first thing is you need an offense, don't you?
Definitely.
What do they call it? A predicative offense?
No, there is an offense which has been committed,
Yeah.
and there is a prima facie case.
The offense, the beginning is the acceptance of a inducement.
Definitely,
Right.
definitely.
So that 2 million is the
That is
problem.
there. Then the other issue, in your first question for us,
Yeah.
with regard to Airbus's agreement with the Sri Lankan government,
Yeah.
and whether it is legal.
Yeah.
Now, if the agreement or if the purchase
Yeah.
has been done upon an inducement being offered,
Yeah.
then whether that agreement is going to be legal is a huge issue.
Right.
Because to my knowledge, those agreements and all those companies like Airbus
Yeah.
are governed by their local laws and the international treaties.
And which is why they paid a fine.
Which is why they pay the fine. So therefore, if they have gone against their laws and the international laws and the treaties,
Yeah.
then they are in breach at the very outset,
Right.
before they sign the agreement.
Right.
So basically for us, before they sign the agreement, they would have said that there is this kickback or payoff.
Yeah.
So that inducement has caused the Sri Lankan government and all the people in Sri Lanka to go and sign this. So therefore, now that part of the agreement or that agreement itself is an illegality. So then now what the Sri Lankan government has to do is to take them to court and recover all this money.
Right.
The $98 million which they have paid. They have to recover all this money. Now, if that happened to us,
Yeah.
where we have gone back on our word, now for instance, I think the hedging deal.
Yeah.
Now the international companies took us to arbitration,
Yeah.
and we had to cough out millions of dollars there.
Although the Supreme Court in our country
Right.
at one stage said you can't pay.
But still, it is governed by international law.
Because they went for arbitration.
For arbitration in Singapore.
Yeah.
So therefore for us, all those arbitrations, and if you go to arbitration and you don't pay it, then you're basically a non-entity in the international.
Yes, you can't just
You can't exist.
can't derelict your duties.
You can't. So then what we have to firstly, we have to not only arrest Kapila Chandra Sen and the wife,
Yeah.
but what about the board? The Sri Lanka board who was responsible for this. I mean,
Because they would have all signed.
definitely. So they are all vicariously liable.
Right.
Vicariously liable. They have to come and answer. This is public money for us. And in today's context, we are a debt-strapped country.
Yeah.
We are unable to pay the debt.
Right.
For 2020,
Yeah.
our debt is $5 billion. We are unable to pay it. So
Yeah.
this kind of robbery,
Yeah.
this kind of robbery has to be made good. We have to immediately, if our Attorney General's department is too busy, we will have to hire a private law firm and go for the recovery of this
And there
money.
is precedent to hire private law
Oh,
firm.
definitely. There is absolutely no problem with regard to that.
Right.
But we need to move fast, because this money, even the $98 million which we have paid in the pretext of this legal agreement,
Yeah.
is easily recoverable. And I think even a letter of demand
Yeah.
to Airbus they will want to pay it without going for arbitration and for going to the legal process.
Well, I am certainly writing to Airbus this morning.
Yes.
And I will be dispatching it by email and also by courier service to Airbus as a concerned citizen of the country, and in the wider context that all over the world there is a call to encourage accountability, transparency,
Definitely.
responsibility.
Definitely.
There are rules against terrorist funding and financing and money laundering,
Yes.
front companies and all that. So in that context, I am writing to express my desire that Airbus stop messing about now that they've agreed what they've done,
Yeah.
and remit forthwith $98 million to the General Treasury in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka.
And not only that, the loss of interest on that money,
Definitely,
the associated charges, any monies that we had paid them before when they confirmed the transaction, and Kapila Chandrasena, there is footage of that where he says, you know, it's like a promotional video. He comes on there, and I'd like to see who paid for that. Perhaps Airbus paid for it. But he comes there and he says that he's proud to announce that Sri Lankan Airlines operates an all Airbus fleet. Now, clearly, we now know that he had already been induced into, there was an arrangement in place. And there was also an arrangement to keep out the competition.
Definitely.
And in this case, it would have been Boeing or one or the other.
And the other thing is, for us now, under the money laundering, now the charges against him are being put out under the Money Laundering Act.
Yeah.
So the Act and the powers of the Act are extremely powerful.
Yeah.
They can go to the extent
Yes.
of seizing all his bank accounts, all his properties, whatever he has.
Right.
And go ahead with the investigation. He will only get the opportunity to go and get these properties released from the High Court on an application made to the High Court.
Yeah.
So the Money Laundering Act,
Yeah.
which was brought in in 2006,
Indeed.
and then in 2011 it was amended. It was brought in for us for the purpose of because we were at that time height of the war. Height of the war. It was brought in to regulate this kind of money coming into a country.
Right.
So this is one of the best cases I have seen,
Right.
where the Money Laundering Act can be put to full maximum use, and they can be punished. And this is a case which we have to do it expeditiously to show the others, because most of these guys who are in Parliament and who are in politics today are all waiting to put their hand into the kitty.
Right.
So
we need to stop that.
We need to stop it, and this has to be done expeditiously.
Right. And thank you for your questions on SMS 0772 300 305. I'll ask you the question, and please help yourself to a fine cup of Jones tea.
I've already done so.
Oh, good. Did you like it?
Yeah, it's good. It is good.
All right. Yeah, look, this question actually came in yesterday after the program, or just as the program was finishing, and I'm going to ask it again because the same person, obviously the same person sent it again. How on earth, knowing how long cases take to be settled, did the president and so many who were charged for various misdeeds have had their charges dropped so fast? Ranjan is in jail for doing something stupid, and Senadipati is out and already back at avant-garde. I think the question is, in the light of your calls for expeditious legal action, the viewer is obviously asking whether that's a good thing, considering the fact that some people have had their cases sort of chucked out.
No, I think he's referring to the case which was against the president.
Right.
And the Attorney General moved to withdraw the case on the basis of immunity.
Right.
But I
basis of immunity because he's the president now?
He's the president now.
Okay.
On that basis.
So they'll have to wait until after he's president?
No, but for us, on the hindsight, I mean, I know a few of the facts of the case.
Right.
In that case, the UDA had sent a letter of demand,
right,
asking the president to pay this money,
right,
because this money which was supposedly taken out, and apparently part of the money has been paid,
right,
before all this thing transpired,
and before he became the president,
and then there was this change of government.
Right.
So when the Yahapalana government came into power, they were investigating all the wrongdoings,
right,
and having investigated the wrongdoings for some reason or the other, it seems to be a transaction which has been done like a contract, where they have wanted the UDA to do this, and they have paid certain amounts of money, and there were monies due. So during that tenor, they sent a letter of demand, asking this money, the other balance to be paid.
Right.
So when they send the letter of demand, the balance had been paid. So for all intents and purposes, it took a completely different turn
Right.
from a criminal case to a civil case, because that's why they have sent the letter of demand.
Right.
So I cannot see how they could have, even if it had gone. I would have, if I was the president, I would have said, go ahead with the case and finish it.
Yeah.
Because it's a clearly a civil case.
Right.
And even the Aegis department was finding it difficult to move forward, because they when they file a case, mostly they don't go through the full facts of the case. They just file a case, and then suddenly when evidence is put forward, and when they are going ahead with the case only, they realize that they have not covered, or they have not looked into the whole matter.
Right.
So therefore, I of course feel that that case, even if it had gone forward,
Yeah.
the president would have been discharged in that case.
I see. Well, there you go. You've got a response to that one. Can we? We've got another question here. It says Chandrasena's wife received 1.5 million plus and transferred 0.5. I don't know what the... Well, I see. The question is, where is the balance million?
That we'll have to ask her.
We'll have to. Do you think they've flown?
I don't think they're in the country.
Well, one minister says that he heard that. So second hand, it's a bit like that white flag thing. You know, okay. So what should the government be doing now?
Firstly, they must arrest them and produce them before the magistrate.
Right.
And do a full investigation. And I feel even the members of the board have to be taken in. Because for us, otherwise what is going to happen is, these people who are clamoring to go as directors and chairman of various boards and public corporations, they must know that this means real serious business.
Yes, that there is a onerous responsibility.
You are handling the money
of the
and
people.
the assets and the natural resources of the people of this country.
Right.
And you cannot play around with them. The slightest suspicion, you have to be clapped in jail, because otherwise what is going to happen is they are going to do it with impunity.
Right. And, okay, can I take you to this other contentious matter, the release of the forensic audits in the matter of the central bank's bond issuances. Now, we've had various sort of opinions on this, and the former governor of the central bank, Ajit Cabral, was probably the first to come off, and he says that this is all bunkum, for want of a better word. I don't know if he said bunkum, but you know, that's the effect. And the other side, especially Dr. Harsha De Silva, and it's in today's Daily Mirror, he's given a full-on interview about that. And there is this general thought process that the bonds was the folly or the fraud of the post-2015 administration, the Mahendran years, and that the questionable part of the pre-2015, which is the Cabral years, was the investment in the equity market or the share market using EPF funds. And the forensic audits, we've got 5 sort of things here, refers very specifically to instances where the EPF made purchases of various stocks after those stocks had risen
to the highest level.
For whatever reason, it had gone up way over par to very high levels. And I think grain elevators was a case in point. 30 to 40 rupees was the range of grain elevator shares.
It went up to 200.
It went up to 265. And 205 was the purchase price by the EPF. So what's the one side of the argument is, look, there's no loss because these haven't been sold. So they're saying it's a hypothetical question. It's unrealized losses, and if you use the right date when the share's up, it may be unrealized gains, and that you have to wait until it's sold to find out. Is that fair?
For us, firstly, EPF, ETF is the money which the people of this country belongs to people of this country. They are basically the savings which they have when they go home after a long period of employment. Then thereafter, for us, if these monies have been taken without proper sanction, now the central bank, there is a monetary unit in the central bank which has to approve each of these transactions.
Yeah.
Before it is
each transaction.
Each transaction. I will say, you will say the EPF, ETF monies are going to be used for a certain stock to be purchased.
Yeah.
There is a body in the central bank which has to approve it.
Right.
There's a committee which has to approve it.
Right.
And there is certain criteria. They can't go and buy private shares from private companies at haphazard prices. So if that committee has not approved it for us, from that point onwards,
yeah,
the legal process should start.
Right.
Now there is a committee which has to approve it. If the committee has not approved it, then from that point, why did the committee recommend it? If the committee has recommended it, then the members of the committee also have to be arrested, because this is coming under the Public Property Act.
Right.
This is property belonging to the state.
Right.
So this money, for all intents and purposes, are maintained, trillions of rupees are maintained by the EPF and the ETF.
It's a big responsibility.
It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And they are duty bound to invest it in very safe, high return projects.
What is annoying about all these matters, including the Airbus transaction, is that these people were hired, in this case, in a couple of these cases, hired from abroad on expatriate terms. He was paid market rates for his work as a CEO.
No, millions of rupees, sometimes the salary is running 2, 3, 4 million.
But that's because they were the rates that he would command in another country, outside, because of his perceived professionalism and because he knows what he's doing. And then you come here and you're treated very, very well indeed. And then to indulge with a bit of finger in the pie and, greasing your own palms,
yes,
and in this case your wives, I think that is absolutely disgraceful.
Definitely, for us.
And we need.
And for us, I think.
So this in the event of back to the EPF funds and the equity market, we've got many messages and calls saying that the responsibility is onerous, and if they couldn't do it, then they should be, and if they derelicted their duties, they should be in jail.
No, for us, not only that, even the people who recruited them, there is a duty cast upon them.
Yeah.
Now, this Kapila Chandrasena was recruited during the previous regime.
Right.
Arjuna Mahendran was recruited after 2015. So even the people who recruited them are responsible. And I can't understand what is their expertise. Now you're talking of paying them very high salaries, international or market rate.
Yeah.
But they are basically white collar criminals who have come into the country and robbed us silly. That is the only expertise, because if they were experts.
So this has happened with the central bank as well.
Definitely. So what I'm saying is, for us, if they were experts and if they were hired to bring out Lanka or bring the losses down,
yeah,
and make it a profit-making venture, that has not happened. It has gone from bad to worse.
Indeed.
It has gone from bad to worse. So there is no expertise. They are only experts, white-collar thieves,
right,
who have come into the country to rob, and a series of politicians also would have benefited from this.
Yes.
Because this money, this 2 billion,
yeah,
is I don't think it's going to only go to Kapila Chandrasena and his wife. This money, if you look at it, I think for the 16 Airbuses,
yeah, he was going to get $1 million.
$1 million per aircraft.
Yeah.
And for the 4, which they're going to lease, they were going to get $100,000 per aircraft.
Yeah.
So it is $16.4 million,
yeah.
and that's a huge amount of money for
yeah.
us. That's a huge amount of money. I mean, it's these losses. If we had these monies at that time, and if we used it properly, we would have made it.
I don't think the CEO of Emirates will make that kind of money in a year.
No way, unless he's also having deals with Airbus.
I'm sure the Emirates CEO is a fine upstanding man, but you just take it could be British Airways or anyone. You know what I'm trying to say, in the airline industry, nobody would have been paid $16 million. I don't know, maybe the owner of the majority shareholder of Southwest, or somebody like that may. I don't know.
But that's a lot of money for us.
But that's an awful lot of money.
I think it's a lifetime type of saving.
Yeah, Cilla Black would have said that's a lot of money. So now what are we going to do about, what can be done about this EPF thing? We'll be waiting for
us. First thing is this. Now, the President very correctly instructed the AG to take.
Do you agree with Mr. Cabral's contention that these are unrealized gains?
No way. He cannot come and simply try to come and brush this aside. He's trying to ride the high horse. He's trying to come and ride the high horse. Oh no, we need another audit. How many audits now? The forensic audit is a foreign company, which has done it, and a highly respected foreign company. So if they say the loss is 9.4 million from the EPF ETF. So on that itself, first step. Now when they wanted to arrest Mr. Champi Karanawaka, they went and made an application that he can't leave the country.
Right.
Rajitha Senaratne, same thing was done.
Right.
So now, having done all that, I think this is a fit and proper case. There is a prima facie case.
Right.
For, as you look at it, that there is fraud.
Right.
So if there is fraud, the CID must forthwith file a B report and see that Cabral and all the family tree, his wife, his sister, all of those people, they will have to be, their passports will have to be impounded, because otherwise for us, it can be another Arjuna Mahendran. They leave the country.
Or Kapila maybe.
or Kapila Chandra. They leave the country and we'll have to be whistling to catch these guys. And Sri Lanka will be a laughing stock. Here people who are in the country, we could not keep them. We allow or give them time for them to go off, and then we go and ask the court to stop their departure. So then how do we go? How can we finish this expeditiously? No, by no means. So what my suggestion is, we call upon the President. He has taken a very prompt decision, very correct decision to protect the country's foreign reserves of the money which has been stolen. In this instance, I think Nimad Cabral, Ajit Nimad Cabral should be arrested forthwith and kept incarcerated like Arjuna Aloysius.
Right.
If they could have done it with him.
If
they could have done it with him. And then they can file a report, and then thereafter, because this is public money. I mean, they file for the slightest thing. Some fellow who goes and harms 150, 200,000 rupees under the Public Property Act. That's the normal thing which happens. But here, these are billions of rupees.
Billions of rupees. Is there a defense to say that the market, we bought it because the market was up, and now the market's down? What can we do?
No, Faraz.
Can you be as flippant as that?
Faraz. There is no way that they can come with that defense, for the simple reason they have to get sanction from the central banks. That there is I can't remember the word, but like a monetary board,
like an investment committee.
The investment committee, before they invest the monies on the stocks.
Right.
So that particular institution is well versed with various stocks and how it has performed in the market.
Right.
So then what happens is, if those stocks have not been like blue chip stocks, then there is no reason for them to.
Because they've always been high.
High, and it has been having a certain pattern.
Right.
The increase even has been gradual and it has been solid.
Right.
But now the stocks which these people have bought, the 30-40 stock has been bought at about 230 to 250 rupees, and they have spent exorbitant amounts.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was at that time for us that this pumping and dumping was taking place. Not only the EPF, ETF. For us, there are small players in the stock market.
Yeah.
Small people, retired people who can double in the stock market.
Yeah.
Now even they have been totally misled. They have taken their money. So basically for us, it is blood money that they have taken. This is the money which belongs to the people of this country, and there were private people who are doubling in the stock market.
Yeah.
Small players, very small players. But even their monies were completely taken and...
as a lawyer, can you tell me, is the penalties for stealing public money greater than if somebody just stole from you?
No, under the money laundering, they can impose a fine, I think, about twice the amount of whatever they have taken.
Well, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry said about the EPF losses on the bond market that the losses was 8,500 million, and it's twice that, so 17 billion.
Yeah.
And they also said that Arjuna Mahendran and Perpetual Treasuries were responsible for the immediate loss of about 688 million as well. So, but what chances, all these are pretty good, but what chances do we have that the court system will look at it seriously? Because quite frankly, the people are quite fed up.
No, for us, court, of course, if the facts are reported properly, proper investigation is done, and it is reported properly, I think the court system will do the needful.
You're confident that the system's in place?
The systems, I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's in place.
We also noticed the arrival of the Supreme Court of one Yasanta Kodagoda.
Yes.
And we all remember him for his sterling work at the Presidential Commission.
Extremely good judge.
Yes. And went to the Court of Appeal, and now he's arrived at the Supreme Court. Does this all go well?
No, I mean, it is people like that who make the Supreme Court, or not only one,
strengthen it.
Strengthen it. Even the Court of Appeal.
Yeah.
I must say that judges are very good, and they are very conscious of the delays, and they are trying to expeditiously finish cases in the Court of Appeal, which is it's a nice thing to see.
Right.
But for us in the Supreme Court, it is inundated with work. And a simple fundamental rights application takes about 5 to 6 years now. So I don't know whether we need to get more judges in places like the Supreme Court, or whether we can now, especially at the beginning of the year, the school admissions, all these school admissions for us ends up at the Supreme Court as a fundamental rights application.
Really?
Yes, and there are hundreds of it which come to the Supreme Court. Because of the irregularities in admitting children to schools.
Right. So that's such a fundamental right.
No, that is a fundamental right, but what happens is for us, there is corruption again at that level.
Is there anything that's not corrupt?
No, there is nothing which is not corrupt. Everything is corrupt. Everything is corrupt. For us, what is happening is this: now Sri Lanka, the state is a place which has so much of resources. It makes money. It has so much of resources. Everyone who is supposed to run the state is completely robbing the state, from the politicians to the government servant to everyone. What they are single-mindedly, what they are doing is they are getting salaries, they are getting perks, they are getting privileges, and over and above that for us, they are robbing the state also. But their duty, what they have to do is they have to run the state which will be beneficial to the people.
Right.
But that is the last concern, or that is of no concern. What they are doing is they are only feathering their own nest, making money from the state, robbing the state, and people are getting the worst deal ever.
And it's about time the Attorney General's Department turns up the ante.
I think the present Attorney General is a no-nonsense person. And,
Right.
he even recently, when that presidential commissioner said, stop this case, he has come out and said, no, nothing doing. You have no power to tell me what to do.
What I found odd, and I know that this presumption of innocence is all that.
No, in Sri Lanka, although it's enshrined in the constitution, it works the other way.
Because at Independence Day, I found it very, very odd and uncomfortable that on the one side we had our Honourable Attorney General seated there, doing his patriotic duty and what he wants to do, to watch and be proud of what's going on and of our independence. And yet, some feet away were various people who are out on bail. I would have thought that they wouldn't turn up. I know the presumption of innocence and all that, but I wouldn't. Surely they could have stayed at home.
No, but they choose not to because they want to be on the silver screen.
I hope Sirsa and all our associated channels will cover their court appearances as well, because then they can be on the silver screen for a different reason.
No, that's right, but I think that happens in abundance.
Good. Vaisi Gurata, thank you very much.
Thanks,
We've run
Faraz.
out of time. We've actually gone over. Thank you so much for your questions. I'm sorry I can't take them all, but much of it was on the same lines that you're speaking, that they want a real investigation where they will get the money back. Yes, that's what they're saying. Somebody's saying, oh no, I can't take it all. Sorry. There you go. Thank you very much for your questions. Thank you for watching Newsline Live. Take care. Have a wonderful day ahead of you. And of course, God bless.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.